Hey, I'm the Ushatka. Don't mind me, I'm just hanging out here in the Arch-Cathedral rooftops. But while you're here, let's entertain a pretty bizarre question. What would happen if you took a big cooking pot, boiled platformers like Hollow Knight and Castlevania, and mixed them with the game mechanics of Souls-like games, and then drowned the entire thing in religious trauma? Well, the chefs over at The Game Kitchen asked that exact same question, and in September of 2019, the indie game titled Blasphemous was released to the public. As of writing this script, Blasphemous is one of my favorite games of all time. It combines a beautiful, gritty pixel art aesthetic, amazing gameplay that leaves you wanting for more, a banger of a soundtrack, and a story that will make you question human morality, all into a glorious and fulfilling gaming experience. I am yet to actually finish this game, but this is mostly because I suck shit at puzzles, and this game keeps breaking my spine like a glow stick. What's nice, however, is that, as it may appear, the game is pretty compact and doesn't require a lot of processing power. I play on an old Mac that came with a dent when I bought it, and the fans don't even turn on when I load up the game. But that's besides the point. I'm here to take you on a biblically accurate journey through this game step by step to fully comprehend its greatness, starting with by far the most present aspect of the game, the aesthetic. Blasphemous is set in Custodia, that's how you pronounce that, a land of faith and zeal, strongly inspired off of the Holy Roman Empire during the Gothic period of the medieval era, mixed with a very hefty flavoring of Catholic southern Spain, which kind of makes sense since the Game Kitchen are located in Seville, which is in very south of Spain, so I guess that adds up thematically. Custodia was blessed with what is now known as the grieving miracle, the sorrowful miracle, or just the miracle. The miracle, is a phenomenon in which those seen by the divine as fitting their divine criteria are either turned into horrifically mutated monstrosities or become revered saints of the high wills. Basically, imagine if God was very, very real and very, very evil. The first instance of the miracle happened when a young man felt such intense guilt and despair over the things that he had done that he prayed to the high wills for punishment, which formed as a gigantic tree growing out from the log on which he knelt, covering and consuming him. This young man became known as the Father or the Twisted One, and became a symbol of the miracle, a symbol that definitely, absolutely, completely, obviously is not meant to look like JC in any way, sense, or form. It is also known as the knot of 3 words, referring to the young man's prayer that consisted of 3 words: my great guilt. You play as this very pointy gentleman, known as the Penitent One in Silence, or just the Penitent One, who carries with him a very pointy sword that is wrapped in metal thorns called mea culpa, which roughly translates from Latin to through my fault, and is derived from a Catholic prayer of confession. The game, naturally, begins with you waking up in a giant pile of naked men. Said men were also part of the Brotherhood of Silent Sorrow, and the Penitent One is the lone survivor. The Brotherhood of Silent Sorrow were excommunicated from the church and massacred after they got the divine mission to kill His Holiness Escribar, aka the Pope. Now, as the lone survivor of this massacre, you are forced to complete the ultimate penitence. This is the tutorial part of the game, where the game teaches you how to move and use your sword. You fight your way out of the first section of the game, defeating the first boss that stands in your way, the Warden of Silent Sorrows, who despite looking hella intimidating is actually a giant pushover. Then you are forced to see the grossest fucking cutscene I have ever lived to witness and promptly head out. There you meet Deogracias, aka the GOAT of the entire playthrough. Deogracias will guide you through the game, giving you pieces of lore as you go along your pilgrimage, giving you positive reinforcement, being a general bro, and also having the best goddamn voice ever. From there the game begins, and you start to explore the non-linear, puzzle-ridden, enemy-infested platforming hell that is Custodia. As mentioned before, Blasphemous feels a lot like a hybrid between the classic hack-and-slash platformer, like Hollow Knight or Castlevania, and various aspects from Souls-likes. I mean, at first glance you could easily say that Blasphemous is fairly similar to the other modern platformers out there, with the platform jumping and wall grabbing and big spike bits of death. But then, as you play, there are these Very obvious Souls-like inspired mechanics, like the iconic Estus flasks, Crimson Tears, Bile Flask, first try. Parry mechanics, and of course the infamous Dark Souls dodge, in this case being a dash move that grants immunity frames. It's very subtle, but any seasoned gamer would instantly recognize these infamous tropes. At this point, I would like to mention the execution mechanic, which is a goddamn blessing on this mortal earth. The fact that I get an unnecessarily gruesome mini cutscene as well as free immunity frames is an absolute godsend. Also, side tangent, Blasphemous technically counts as one of the many games with the Pet the Animal button. Just look at him. Just look at the little guy. Oh my god. A good boy. Yes. The whole game kind of feels like a constant level, which at first glance seems a tad weird, but is executed phenomenally. The entire game feels cohesive and consistent, staying in that platformer POV whilst also feeling explorable and open for you to discover. The game has tons of various sections ranging from the winding halls of the desecrated cistern, the scaling cliffs of where the olive trees wither, the grand chambers of the Mother of Mothers, and the tall Arch Cathedral rooftops. One of my personal favorite areas in the game. Each area feels completely unique and special, whilst also blending perfectly with each other. The map and dungeon design is admirable at the very least. The game also likes to do this very specific thing where it blocks off various areas until the player has progressed far enough to get through certain boundaries, causing a weird back and forth where the player is restrained to go to certain places, discovers a way to get past softlock boundaries, and discovers useful Easter eggs. One of the best ways this game accomplishes this is through accessories, of which there are plenty to pick from. Throughout the game, the Penitent One is going to find prayer beads that allow for minor changes in his stats, holy relics which, while elusive, allow for major changes in how the Penitent One moves and behaves, which in turn allows for a far greater level of exploration in the game. Prayers, which are the magic system of the game, each prayer consuming fervor, aka the mana of the game. Mea culpa parts, which allow for the stats of your weapon to drastically change, whether that be the DPS, stagger ability, the general speed of the weapon, or really anything in between. Quest items, which after completing the said quests allow for any of the prior to be found. Lore items, which I should probably read, but I'm too busy playing the game I bought to read 2 paragraphs about the thing I just killed 5 seconds ago. More permanent upgrades, such as the stinging pains that increase your health, baptisms which increase your fervor. This guy named Naciamento, who is dealing with an unfortunate case of old man chest burster, who will increase the power of your bile flasks. Bile fountains that increase the amount of bile flasks. Mea culpa shrines that will upgrade your sword into becoming the weapon of mass destruction it was meant to be. Some crusty old ghost lady that will increase your amount of prayer beads you can equip. And big hand portals. You will also probably come across a lot of bones of saints. Yeah, Catholicism is just kind of like that sometimes. Don't really question it. It's fine. But with all these various options and upgrades, the ability to min-max and adapt to any scenario in the game is practically gift-wrapped and delivered to you personally. The enemies in this game, no joke, are downright horrific, ranging from viciously mutated to straight up deranged. We've got Our Lady of the Sticking Out Brain, Ten Pie Dad, some schizo nerd named Easter Ass and his dead sister Perpetua, the Skeleton Man, Pyromaniac Santa, the Nightmare Baby, It's Dora the Voice of the Dead, Crescenta the Warped Pastry, and the Pope. Each boss manages to feel unique and fresh, giving a completely new combat experience with each one. Better yet, each boss manages to feel like a proper character, of which there are tons of in the game. Other than the GOAT, Deo Gracias, the game is filled with characters, each one with their own stories and quests, ranging from a spellcasting magic woman with the shelf life of milk, a Tumblr sexy man stuck in an olive tree, down to the giant salty pedicure man and a monk with an old man chest bursting out of him. There's even this sick hermit guy called Redento, to whom nothing bad would ever happen. A lot can be said about each character in the game, but what I feel is the most prominent in all of them is the voice acting and the character design. The voice of every character feels alive, and better yet, each voice feels old. Even if not physically, emotionally, every voice sounds like the speaker has, for a lack of better words, gone through some shit. Each character in this game sounds like they have a story to tell, a life before the game started, a backstory and a history to each character. It really goes to show how well the story and world building of this game was written. And that's just the English dub for the game. Because of the geographic origin of the game, the original dub for the game is in Spanish. Now, I don't speak Spanish. I'm a quirked up young Polish lad that learned English at a young age and has stayed bilingual my entire life. But when I say that the Spanish dub sounds phenomenal, I mean it. I have absolutely no idea what each of the characters are saying, yet compared to the English dub, every character goes from sounding old and wise to downright ancient.
Regretful be the heart, penitent one. The anguish of the eldest brother has now come to an end.
Pesaroso corazón sea, penitente. El tormento del hermano mayor ha terminado.
I have zero clue where they found the VAs for the original dub, but they were all blessed by the high wills to have the vocal cords made out of gold, and it's actually just insane how beautiful the Spanish dub feels to the ear. But talking about beauty, let's quickly talk about the character design. I don't know how to conceptually put it, so I'm just going to say how it is. Everything in this goddamn game is fucking stunning. Everything from the enemies and the environment down to the bosses, NPCs, and the protagonist himself. Each individual sprite feels planned out and well thought out. I looked at the art book and you can really tell by reading it how much thought and emotion was put in place to make the whole game feel aesthetically unique, cohesive, and dynamic. Now I feel like it's a good moment to tackle the pointy elephant in the room. A lot of the characters in this game are sporting a very iconic pointy elf hat. A pointy elf hat that is unfortunately correlated to a 3-letter organization that shall not be named for the sake of my first proper video. However, this is not actually related in any way to said hate group, but is actually a reference to the Spanish Holy Week, a period in time celebrated by most places in southern Spain, during which various Catholic circles and brotherhoods wear the iconic hood of penitence for various ceremonies. Listen, I didn't make the creative decisions on this game, and if I did, I would probably pick something a bit less socially controversial, but that's just how it is. It's how the cookies crumbled, and I have no say in it being otherwise. I also feel like it's worth mentioning that this controversy is very America-centered, and that most people from, for example, Spain, wouldn't make the immediate connection. But moving on from that, there are a lot of aspects in the design of the characters and the enemies that really nail in that gothic medieval theme. It's hard to pin down, but it's really just the little things in the designs. The desaturated color schemes and colliding visual motifs like rope, thorny vines, and ribbons are just a few examples of how the theme of Blasphemous and the design choices of the characters intertwine. A big thing in character design is recognizable silhouette, and this game has that in abundance. Each character feels recognizable and independent while also fitting perfectly in the same setting. With that being said, however, I think it's a great time to move on to the other great thing about this game, the music and sound design. Each and every sound in this game has some sort of weight to it. Every swing that the penitent one makes with his sword feels sharp and agile. Falling has weight to it. Attacks from enemies sound threatening and dangerous. Even the small things like selecting things in the main menu sound like echoing chimes. And then there's also the actual music. Oh my goodness gracious me, is the soundtrack in this game positively phenomenal. Blasphemous manages to use unconventional and unusual instrument pairings to further push that central theme. In all honesty, Spanish acoustic guitar and distorted electric guitar have no right sounding so good next to each other. Every song, whether that be background music or a boss theme, sounds amazing and manages to bring that ever-present feeling of medieval grittiness and biblical dread to the foreground even more. Just listen to some of these songs. Do you see what I mean? Every song feels grim and hopeless, each one perfectly translating those emotions of Catholic guilt and medieval torture perfectly into sound. But other than all of these different attributes like video and sound design, gameplay, lore, music, and story, Blasphemous also just has tons of other great things, such as DLCs, secret endings, mini-games, and even a sequel that I can't wait to play. The game is really chock full of content to play and fidget around with outside the main plot, which by itself is very fun to go through. Now, this game is very clearly not for everyone. For one, this game is challenging. I myself am an uber powerful mega super gamer, but someone that plays Animal Crossing every day might actually die from playing this game. Another thing is that this game is super depressing. I don't think there's a single moment in this entire game that isn't either sad, horrifying, eerie, or just sickening. And if you were raised Catholic, like I was, you will find the extra benefit of this game making you feel like a guilty piece of shit. This game is also kind of small. I recommended it to a friend that isn't a psycho completionist like I am, and he finished the first ending of the game in less than a week, which would either mean that he's very fast or I'm very slow. And by looking at the time that I have on this game from Steam, I think the correct answer is pretty obvious. But to sum it up, I think Blasphemous is a very good game. I think it's a very acquired taste, and it's definitely not for everyone, especially not anyone that either can't take super depressing stuff or just plays video games on a very casual level. But for me, who has neither of these problems, the game is excellent. I enjoyed playing every second of this game. I actually kind of regret buying the game while it was on sale. The amount of time I have poured into playing this game is an homage to my love for it, and I think it deserves far more recognition than it has. Thank you for watching, and this has been the Ushatka. See you guys later. Yo, it's your boy, editing Ushatka. Just done editing this video. It is 40 minutes after midnight. But I just came here to say, like, thank you so much for watching this video. And this might be either the very first video I've ever made, or like one of the first videos I've ever made. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you for watching it to the end. This whole YouTube thing is a thing that I'm just kind of experimenting with, and I just, you know, it's always been a dream, and I finally have the resources to do it, despite the fact that my computer is actual garbage. But yeah, no, thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope to continue doing this. Yeah. If you want to support the channel and see this thing grow, you want to see more of these videos, liking, subscribing, and commenting helps a ton. So yeah, if you did that, or if you are currently doing that, thank you so much. And just in general, thank you for watching. Also, these won't be every video. I really want to go to sleep right now. So yeah, okay, yeah, thank you so much. Bye. And yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.